Hi guys, my name is Ephraim Mwereza and I'll be presenting on behalf of my team, Alpha Twin, whereby we are presenting a solution that we're building, an assistive technology that we aim to help bridge technology to bridge communication barriers for over 1.3 million Kenyans who are either having autism as ASD, Down syndrome, neurological disorders or development conditions. Yeah, so we are building an Android application that is powered by AI that finally understands a typical speech in Kenyan English and Swahili. A typical speech is not the normal speech that you and we have. This is a speech that results from people who are having new neurodevelopment conditions. And as you can see the graphic on the side, it's of a gentleman who's having a challenge with his speech, and he's trying to maybe go through a normal ASR tool, like maybe the Google tools that we have, the series. But if you are stuttering that way, it will not be able to pick it correctly, and that is one. And now the next challenge is that we are not talking about our local language, which is low resource, that is the Kenyan English and Swahili, which are totally low resource languages. And adding to that, we know that we in Kenya, we are very known for code switching, which is having Kenyan English and Swahili spoken at once, which is somehow a challenge to the models. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so the problem, yeah, so imagine trying to use the Siri Google Assistant, but it can't understand you. Not once, but 8 out of 10. That is 80% when you speak. This is the daily reality of people with dysarthria, cerebral palsy, autism, Down syndrome, and Parkinson disease. Yeah, the current speech recognition fails them twice first because African languages like Kenyan English, yeah, an emphasis of Kenyan English. This is not just the normal UK English or the US English. We're talking about Kenyan English. Swahili are underrepresented in training data. Second, because these systems only understand typical, or what you may call the normal speech patterns. The same way that I'm speaking now, I might not be stuttering, I'm speaking fluently. You are able to get me. But a person who is likely to have autism, Down syndrome, may not speak that way. And in fact, there are times where their speech comes out as distorted, but they still want to communicate. So how will they be able to do that in an environment that you are bridging technology with AI? So this isn't just frustrating. It locks people out of education, healthcare, employment, digital services that increasingly rely on voice interface. So imagine a person who is having ASD is trying to communicate, and he's stuttering that way. He's having that distorted speech. And he's trying to get a health service. You see, he's already locked out. Yeah, he's not be able to be absorbed in it. You may, as a practitioner like you and I, who is having the normal speech, you may need to be able to understand him. But if you can have a tool, an alpha twin, that is an aid that is going to help him, that wherever he speaks about that as it produces that distorted speech, it's able now to transcribe it to a normal sound, be it in writing, and also maybe push it to now the voice it out based on the context that he wants, maybe male or female, and you're able to get him so that you're able to understand him, and just for them to also to feel part of this life and continue being there. Yeah, so our solution is that. So basically, our solution under the hood, we are going to fine tune ASR models, and we are happy to say that OpenAI, Meta have already produced models. NVIDIA, the Nemo models. But as you can see, we have the Whisper models from OpenAI. It's an open source model, and WAV2Vec, which is a open source model from Meta. And our data set is a typical Kenyan English and Swahili. Then the app adapts to each user's unique speech pattern, 5 to 10 minutes calibration, and then the goal. So our goal is to reduce the error rates from word error rates from especially from 80% to 30% or below. That is greater than 50% improvement. If you have worked with the Whisper models, especially when you fine tune it on a Swahili language dataset for the Kenyan, you find that it has an word error rate of roughly, let's say 30% or something of the sort. And when you fine tune it on the atypical speech, that is the Kenyan language that we of atypical speech, it has a word error rate normally of around 40%, and the large version of the model, the Whisper large models, is the one that has a lower word error rate. Yeah. So this is our challenge that we have. We are trying now to fine tune these models to come to a low word error rate. As you understand, there are different metrics to evaluate a model. We have the word error rate, we have the character error rate, but we are not going to not only focus on that, because we understand that you also have the context. It does not just matter if the word are being translated well, but now the tonation and some things, yeah, you can get to understand that the tonation, yeah, especially in our languages, in our Swahili languages, it's not the what was said, it was the how. So those the sentiments of the language, those are still key things that we're continuing to look. And of course, we're going to wrap the the application on a mobile application, so that's something that is portable, something that is accessible on a local device, and a user can be able to work with it as a digital twin to help them on their daily activities. Yeah, so who we are serving? So we are specifically building for people with these conditions, the dysarthria that comes from stroke, cerebral palsy, autism, Down syndromes, and other neurological disorder. And each condition creates a unique speech patterns from effect that affect articulation. And one thing that you're committed is to make sure that our solution is inclusive for all. Yeah. And that's the main reason that we're building this solution for them. We know that we have the Google Translate, which is really good, but we now have to shift our focus to other members of the community. Because once you know, when you build for disability, you're building for all. As we know, yeah, you are just only an accident away from disability. Yeah. So that is our target and end goal. And you might look at this and you wonder that these are all order, or we are delusional. But this is why I'm telling you why we will succeed. And there are a few metrics here that shows that we can succeed. Yeah, one is the data set and infrastructure. So looking, we have already established partnerships with the Census Hub Kenya. This is a hub for, especially known for building digital building. It's a hub for building technology, assistive technology. Yeah, and you have the Center for Digital Language Inclusion in the UK. They focuses on language, especially for inclusivity. And one thing that we are proud of is that we have collected a typical speech data covering all target conditions, and you have seen the target conditions. And this speech data has been collected for over 50 participants. Yeah, yeah, so we are building actually for them, and we are building with them. So, and also one thing that you might know, most machine learning projects fail is because of data or infrastructure, and we've eliminated both risks because we have credits from model model the GPU compute. Because when you are going to fine tune a large language model, like let's say a whisper model, and you're going to do inferencing, the Google Colab, the free tier is not well enough, but we have the model credits that is giving us the platform to be able to do that. And partnerships, not just in discussion, but these are active partnerships. We have the Kenya Institute of Special Education. This is the parastatal that deals with the disabilities and education in Kenya. And Strathmore University, who's also, they offer the technical expertise in terms of guidance. We have the people who are practicing machine learning in that institution who are also there. And also the legal team from Strathmore, they help us with the data protection and start from day one, because these are sensitive data. And these are some of the partners here. And Alpha Twin, yes, is one of the is a startup that we are actually under. It was founded by Ephraim Mwereza. This is a startup that actually it started by building an assessment tool for autism. So we are having a founder who is knowledgeable, who is a product fit for this solution. Yeah. So we are actually co-creating and not consultation. As you can see, this is technology built for people with disability. It is being built with them. As you can see, this just was one from the workshop. Yeah, we have a licensed speech language pathologist embedded in the core team from Kise. Yeah, so that we are able to build for them with them. So in our first workshop, this is just one of the sentiments that the users say. They don't care about the word error rates, percentages. They care whether this technology can successfully book a doctor's appointment for them or help them participate in a classroom discussion. Yeah. So these are some of the things that they help us, that we are not just focusing on the technical acumen or accuracy of it, but we're not looking at the usability or the user experience of it. Yeah. So the timeline and the product delivery. So you can tell the product, this is what we have outlined. Yeah. So months 1 and 2, that is from August, started from July and August. We have data processing done and validation. Actually, the data is collected both for English dataset and the Swahili dataset. And now what is happening currently, we are fine tuning the open whisper models, yeah, for the English dataset and the Swahili dataset. Yeah, that is already happening. And the next month we are going to do is build an Android app development. That is the interface of the front end whereby the user can be able now to interact with the application. But still, you're going to engage the user, the user with the person, the stakeholder, the person with disability, and the speech the speech language specialist. Yeah. So by 2025, we are going to deliver a production ready Android app, and then we continue with the usability testing and the pilot 2026, so that we make sure that now our product is product market fit. Yeah. So that is what we are looking forward to. Yeah. Yeah. So you may think, why? Uh, don't solutions exist? Yeah. So there are solutions. We acknowledge there's Google's Project Relay that was done in Ghana, and there's Voice It. These are already existing. But one case study is especially for the Google's Project Relay. Why it failed? It is because that solution was built somewhere in San Francisco and bring both to the people. And you see, with Ghana in Africa, we talk about numerous languages. So they focus on US English. When you bring it here, people the acceptance rate was low. Yeah. So you can see that is a challenge across. But for us, we are being building by us, we the people, we are building the solution for the people. Yeah. And then for the Google's project relay, it's an offline online application. That means in areas of low connectivity, it may not really work, because you have to understand that the use case of this application was done for people at the Silicon Valley and USA. And you might tell that the connectivity levels for USA and Africa, they are not the same. Yeah. So we are going to try and build something that has the syncing technologies that you can be able to do it locally. And when it gets online, it can be able to sync the data with some cloud storage. And of course, the cost, it was free but limited. You have to pay from some premium features like customization and stuff. Those are some of the things that we try to give the user experience well. Try to use the open source ways to make sure that the users have the best way possible. And now code design, if it was being built in Silicon Valley and sort, it is not being co-designed by language speech therapists, especially let's put in context, like here in Nairobi, Kenya, somebody from Kayole, how will he be co-designing something with the Google at Silicon Valley? So that's where we come in, you are building there. And the data set, it's not available for us. Even if it's available, it's for them. Yeah. And with it, they're doing it proprietary. But for us, this data set will be public release by the end of 2025. So you can be able to tell that actually, whatever we are building is not just hot air. We are trying to bridge the gap. Yeah, in Kenya. So our team combines technical expertise, we have medical expertise, and clinical validation. So we are Kenya based by strategic design, not by limitation. Yeah, we are building for Kenyan English and Swahili that requires deep linguistic and cultural understanding. Yeah, and you can tell we are tackling code switching patterns like Sheng that don't exist elsewhere. Yeah, but we are not isolated. You have the partnership with the CDLI UK that brings international research credibility. And maybe post MVP, you're going to recruit from Tanzania, Uganda, and continue now to replicate it as we expand. Yeah. You may wonder why our team is based in Kenya. So these are critical and is being bound by so many data protections acts and laws. Yeah. So this is something that is, yeah, that you're trying to build it here in the country first, localize. Yeah, with the people who are actually seeing whatever is happening here. We are building it here for the country, but in future, when you are able now to prove the concept here, it's something that you can replicate in other countries. And if I'm going to Tanzania to build it, I don't know what Tanzanians go through. I'll have to onboard the Tanzanians there who are able now to show me. Yeah, I might over technical expertise, but they're going to lead the whole process in their ground. Yeah. So you might ask the relevance to deep learning in Daba. So deep project embodies deep learning in Daba's mission in every dimension. Yeah, we are solving an African specific problem with an African-led innovation. Yeah, advancing ML research, our work on low resource SR adaptation and speaker adaptive techniques to benefit the global community. We are building capacity through university partnerships, as you can see. Yeah, our framework is replicable across the continent. Nigeria, South Africa, and Ghana can adopt the methodology. And we are demonstrating that ethical AI leadership, while others talk about inclusive AI, we are showing how to build it. It's good to talk about ethical AI, inclusive, but now this is one of the main dimensions of building actually an inclusive AI for the people. And as you can see, we are having people from the teams, both sides, the speech language therapist, you're having I as the technical lead, you're having as guys from the medical aspect of it. So it's something that you are building everyone an AI for African AI. Yeah. So truly Africa can lead in building AI that is truly inclusive. We cannot wait for some people to build for us. That's why we have to take the chance and build. So this might ask. So what do we need from this idea though? First of all, we need a mentorship when we reach to the production level to optimize production optimization and mobile deployment. Second, partnership and connections. We know DLI is a big institution, and we know we have teams like Mozilla Common Voice Dataset, so that we want to expand the scope of this project. Yeah, we know the Google project, even though they failed, but they had reached somewhere. That's why it's called inclusive. We want to bring them on board to see how also they can plug in and make sure that this thing is able now to replicate over the world, over the continent, not necessarily the world. Visibility. Winning this ideathon amplifies our work to potential funders, government partners, and telecom companies to distribution at scale. But here's why this is crucial. We don't need to believe in our potential. Our data set is collected. That will be guaranteed. Our infrastructure is secured. Sure. Our partnerships are active. Our cooperation is going. Yeah. We need you to believe that Africa can lead in building inclusive AI. That depth matters more than speed. That 1.3 million Kenyans with speech impairment deserve technology that understands them. So by 2025, the end of this year, we'll deliver a working Android application. By 2026, we'll achieve a product market fit. By 2027, we'll expand across East Africa. This isn't a proposal, it's a commitment of change. Yeah, yeah. And there may be so many challenges in terms of code switching. Yeah, but we are still working on it to make sure that the language, that the model is able now to have both the tendency to understand the nuances that comes with code switching and stuff. Yeah. So thank you for your time, and yeah, this is our challenge and hope to get back from you.